Welcome to Table Talk, where there's always room at the table. I am your host, Jonathan Harmon of the J. Harmon Home Team, and we can't wait to talk to these fine guests. Enjoy the show. All right. Hello. Welcome to Table Talk. My name is Jonathan Harmon with the J. Harmon Home Team, powered by Keller Williams. I've got one of my most important people in my entire life sitting here with me, Michelle Reeves, also of the J. Harmon Home Team. She's the one that tells me all the things that I do wrong. As far as this goes, yes. So anyway, that's good because I do plenty wrong. So yeah, that's a good thing. Before we get rolling with our guests, we do want to give a shout out to our friend Brian Nail over at Premise Mortgage. Brian is my go-to lender and also a dear friend, and we appreciate all that he does to help spread the positive here in Rutherford County. So let's hear from Brian.
Hey, my name is Brian Nail. I'm a mortgage loan officer with Premise Bank Mortgage. I want to tell you that I absolutely love being a member of the Spread the Positive Network. It's such a great mission and helps bring so much positivity to our community. It's truly a pleasure to be part of. There are a lot of ways to navigate financing a home, and in markets like this, having the advice of a trusted local professional is key to making sure you get the right advice for your specific circumstances. Whether you're interested in the purchase of a new home, second home, or have a need for a refinance, I'd love to earn your trust. If I can help you nail your mortgage, call me at 615-243-3976 or visit nailyourmortgage.com.
Premise Mortgage is a subsidiary of Premise Bank, a member FDIC, equal housing opportunity. As always, all loans are subject to approval. Premise Mortgage, NMLS number 1894879.
Here in our community, both in your job and also in your
life,
community stuff. Yeah. Whatever.
Community
stuff. So let's adjust your mic a little bit and make sure that we can hear you there. All right. So we've got two awesome guests here. Michelle and I scheduled this, and I'm so excited to have Mr. Norman Hanks.
Hi. I'm glad to be. You want me to wave?
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we've got Diesel over here. How's it going?
It's going.
That's great. So, man, all kinds of stuff has happened. And you told me that we can talk about anything, right?
We will answer whatever you ask us, Jonathan.
That's what I can tell you. Will you answer it fully? That's the question.
I will answer it honestly.
Okay. That's all I can ask for. I love it. So, Norman and I have gotten to be pretty good friends over the last 3-4 years, I guess, somewhere around there.
Yeah, sounds right.
And Norman does all kinds of cool things in our community. Works over at Nourish Food Bank, first of all, and does a lot there to make sure that people don't go to bed hungry. Which is
our goal in life, is to keep people fed so that they can continue being great citizens in our community.
That's it. And does a great job. Does it with a smile on his face, even when he doesn't want to have a smile on his face. And there might be a few times where that might happen.
Doesn't happen.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah. You said honestly.
Honestly, that was a lie. Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it happens.
I do occasionally frown while I do it, but
yes, but that's okay. It happens. But then also, Norman is super active in the community for the LGBTQ and all the rest of the letters. Plus.
You're
right.
Don't forget the plus.
Sorry, I forget all the letters, and then I get them in the wrong order. And
yes,
anyway,
but
the plus on their community as well, and somebody that has really been integral in successful Boro Pride events and things like that, and various activities within the community, including the recent unpleasantness that has pitted parts of our community against each other. And that's the part that I think last year that was really kind of
it happened last year,
yeah.
right? Like we had you on. We were on Table Talk last year, right before the event happened.
Yeah, right before.
Yeah.
And then 2 weeks after, the world fell apart, right? Like something crazy happened.
It did. And like there's a part of me that always wants to, like, okay, I can see both sides, right? Like I want to be able to do that, right? And then I can more effectively and objectively look at the situation. But y'all, I just can't on this one. Like I'm struggling with it, and I want to understand, right? And I think that coming to a place of understanding helps with solution. Do
Hmm.
you know what I mean? And the reality is, most solutions are found in the middle somewhere, right? Most of the time. But I just like this one just baffled me. I mean, it just baffled me. But anyway, we're going to get to that for a second. Let's introduce our other guest. So, Diesel is also a member of our community, active in the same circles that Norman we just talked about, but also performs. Both of you guys perform in various capacities, different shows, different places, different events, that kind of thing.
Mhm.
So, Diesel, tell me a little bit more about yourself.
Well, where do I start? I don't even know. Like,
Who are you?
well, my name is Alicia.
Yes.
Um, and I was not prepared for this.
It's okay. You're married. You have children.
I'm engaged. I have children. They are range from 12 to 5. The oldest will be 13 next week, and it's very scary.
Yes.
I'm
Um,
sorry.
Yes. I have a
My
I ha-
condolences.
my oldest just turned 17.
No,
So,
this week. It'll be this week.
Uh,
oh,
This
you
week.
better get on the stick then.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
13-year-olds like things.
He likes the PlayStation.
Yeah.
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 And the youngest just likes to be held. So, you
So,
know.
how did you get involved in performing and doing what you do in that realm?
I started drag a long time ago. We were talking about it the other night. I want to say it's probably at least 10 years. It was just like a little bitty dive bar, and I just needed something to do, like an out, and I had went and watched a performance once, and I was like, this kind of looks fun. And they're like, well, we have this open stage thing. And I was like, oh, okay. So I performed one open stage, and I loved it. Like the adrenaline that I got from being a different person, and
Hmm.
like all of the reactions, I guess you could say, from everybody that was like watching and participating and stuff. It was just like one of those things where it was just gave me a really big adrenaline rush, and I got to be somebody different. So it was like fun to live up to, I guess.
I think it's safer to be somebody else sometimes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. You
Sure.
can express yourself differently that way.
Right.
So with my music choices and everything, it was just kind of one of those where I could be anybody and everybody because of the fact that my genres change from time to time as well. So,
Yeah.
and then I ended up starting hosting shows, and then started doing pageants and stuff like that. And here we are.
Well, so I learned a lot. So we met last year as well,
Mhm.
and anytime people think of drag, they think of drag queens,
Mhm.
right? And
Correct.
you've got everything from Tu Wong Fu all the way to RuPaul to, I mean, so through all kinds of media and culture, you know that's a known thing, right? You are the first king, I guess, that I had met, and I didn't even know that was a thing. I had no idea. So my own ignorance there, And anyway, so and I've seen you perform. You did do an awesome job,
Thank you.
and it's a lot of fun. And why wouldn't that exist, right?
Right.
But it's just never been. It's not like a RuPaul or some of those things. Do you know what I mean?
Mhm.
So anyway, that's pretty interesting. So, um,
Well, we don't all have RuPaul's budget first. Let's
No.
be
Well,
clear.
I was
No.
just
I could
thinking
be
that.
a lot of things if I had that budget. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
for sure.
Yeah.
And 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 I guess here's kind of where I am, and you guys, I'm gonna say this, and I just want to hear y'all's reaction and just say what you need to say on this. The way that has evolved and through culture in my lifetime, right, and seeing all of that, um, it just made what happened last year that much more baffling to me.
Mhm.
Like, I thought we were past this. You know what I mean?
We
Oh,
should
yeah.
be.
Well,
It's
well,
2023.
agreed. But I thought we were right.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
why is this? So, give me a summary of what happened, what has happened since then, and tell it how you would tell it, just to catch somebody up, just in case they've been asleep for a year.
All right. I'll do the best I can. So last year, about a week, 2 weeks after Pride
About 2
happened,
weeks.
The Tennessee Equality Project, which is the overarching organization that handles Boro Pride every year and has for the past 7 years, received a letter from Murfreesboro City Manager Craig Tyndall saying that they would not allow any city permits be issued to Tennessee Equality Project moving forward because of the way the performances went, and the people who were doing the performances were sexualizing, and there was another word and I can never remember it.
Tasteless.
Well,
Some
yeah, we
some
were
sort of
definitely tasteless is
well, no,
what we
that's
were
what I
told.
feel like that word.
But there was
Yeah.
the word that we were not demeaning, but we were oh criminy, I'm not supposed to use the words. I've blocked it out of my memory. Changing people into being who we are. What is the word?
Influential?
No.
No,
It's a
I
D word.
I know what you're talking about.
Demoralizing?
Damn. It's not damn.
Not that.
not
Not
that
that
word.
D
Not
word.
that
Not
word.
that
Different
D
D
word.
word.
It's a different D word.
Similar
Anyway,
D
so
word.
we were told how horrible and disgusting we were. Perverted, so
You
many
name it.
things.
You name it.
But that we would basically not be allowed to use city property or get any city permits to make the event happen, which anyone that lives in Murfreesboro and has ever done an event in the city knows there are a bazillion permits you have to get filed, right?
Right.
And get approved by the city.
Tents and
Yeah.
vendors
location
and
vendors
yeah.
and everything. So without being able to do any of that, essentially they said Borough Pride would not happen. Few
In
months
in a public
in
place.
a
Public,
public
yeah.
location,
Right.
right. Anywhere that would require a city permit,
hmm
which is just about anywhere. We
Right. You
recently
would have
found
to
out.
go to a private space, and a private space kind of defeats the purpose. Number one, and number two becomes significantly more expensive.
Correct.
Yes.
Yes. And even some private spaces, you still have to have certain permits from the city,
Sure.
right? As we found out on Main Street, you have to have permits to use any of the houses along Main Street.
Really
According to the city.
interesting. Okay.
So we flash forward a few months, and then the city decides that they need to have more control over what is considered indecent and inappropriate for its citizens. So the city council passed a not law per se, but basically a law saying that the city manager and the sheriff now have complete control over saying what is or is not demoralizing and inappropriate for children to see and read.
And so let's back up for a second,
Mhm.
because in the interest of fairness, right?
Mhm.
Part of the issue was that there was somebody in the crowd that got video
Yes.
of
Right.
children present at the drag show,
Yes.
and one of the children was
A lot of the children were coming up and tipping the performers.
yes, exactly. So
And/or
didn't get on
dancing with
stage or
them.
anything like
Never
that,
got on stage.
but tipped.
Now, what people don't know is a lot of the children that were there were children of the performers that they were tipping.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Correct.
So Diesel's children might have been there tipping Diesel. A couple of the other performers' kids were there tipping their parent that was performing.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Video came out that these people were performing. They were in
Uproar.
the yard. Children were tipping them. Uproar, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all instigated by a very right-wing religious zealot who was trying to make a name for themselves at the moment because we were in the middle of an election season. Things were going on, right? And they were trying to move into a political system here in the state. They weren't even from here. They put it out. They put it out all over the Instas and the Facebooks and the Twitters and the everything. They tagged me personally, not my alter ego who has her own page, and they could have tagged her, right? They tagged Norman in this video. The night that we had the event at your place, someone shot my house.
I didn't know that.
Yes, we
Holy
had not
smokes.
made it
Recently.
public. Someone had shot at my house that night. Luckily, I wasn't there, but my mother was. And they shot in my bedroom. So mom was safe. She was in the living room, but she didn't know what was going on, obviously. The police said that it wasn't intentional because if it had been an intentional shooting, there would have been a spray of bullets through the front of the house. I said, "Oh, okay. So the one right next to where I would have been laying is not at all." Okay, got it. So nothing was done about that. So then, obviously, moving forward, all of these things are going on. I had lost at the show that night at Boro Pride. My boobs, my fake implanted boobs, had fallen out the bottom of my dress. It happens. It happens to me a lot more than it should. And I let it happen. Like, I don't, it's just a thing that happens, right?
I,
And
if you say
Diesel,
so, I don't know.
it does happen. And Diesel was luckily on stage at the moment that it happened, because while I was performing, I had slipped on one of those
I was
false
there.
things. Yeah. It was
I
a
was
good
there.
time, right?
Yeah.
And I might have mentioned that my breast fell out.
I was picking them up so you wouldn't fall in them again.
Yes. And I said, Diesel has picked up my titties, and I'm very grateful for that. Tittygate 23 was a thing. I still feel like that's the reason they tried to cancel us. But the city has also put in, again, the control for the city manager and the sheriff, and they are taking over control of the library, it seems. They are banning books now because they are inappropriate. The books that they have currently removed from the library are all LGBTQ plus books, so that the children can't read them because the children are being groomed. It was a G word.
Groomed.
Groomed.
Yeah, it is.
Yes.
We are groomers.
That's their favorite word.
Yes, we
Yeah.
are grooming the youngsters.
I mean, you look impeccably groomed. I do want to tell you
Thank
that.
you.
Yes.
I did rush myself this morning trying to look decent. I didn't put
That's
on
what
any
the kids just
mascara.
pull, and I'm
Or
like,
As I'm calling Norman on my
Yeah.
way here, going, please let them know I'm coming. I'm just running late. And he's like, I haven't left my house yet.
Yeah.
I was like, cool.
I was doing the same
Sorry
thing,
for
and I was
shit.
sitting at the old building. Like,
Yeah, I run late. I'm sorry. What else is going on? So we have all of that happening.
And then Tennessee Equality Project.
Tennessee Equality Project told us last year that they would be working with the ACLU to file a lawsuit against the city of Murfreesboro.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of us assumed that would happen much quicker than it did. I guess maybe I was
like
naive or foolish.
Well, if you watch the
thinking
show
that.
Suits, it happens in like 20 minutes.
Right, any
Yeah.
TV
Right.
show,
I
it
just
happens
started
pretty
it.
quick, right?
I've just started.
It's
Suits.
excellent.
Sorry.
Yeah, it's excellent.
But apparently it does not work that way.
No.
It takes a long time for them to decide they want to do something. And
Yeah.
so the ACLU filed suit 2 days ago.
2 or 3 days ago.
For
It
stuff
happened
that
this
happened
week. For
last
the
year.
stuff that
Yes.
happened last year.
Yeah.
Well,
Correct.
and part of that, they've got to gather all their information, get their witnesses, make sure that there's not conflicting, make sure they don't look
Right.
like idiots for,
Right.
yeah, I get all of that.
Yeah.
So meantime, you're going for a year here. Is Boro Pride going to happen? Is Boro Pride not going to happen? If it does, where's it going to be? Should we continue? Do we want this firestorm? Like all of these things. And so let's pause right there. We're going to come back to that, because here's what I need to hear from you guys. And I think that this is good for a lot of people that are more like me, as far as just what they've been exposed to, stereotypes and things like that. Okay, so you and I've had this same conversation multiple times. Why pride, right? So, and here's what I mean by that. I'm gonna go ahead and say this, and this is gonna be offensive to some people, and that's okay. I'm okay with that.
That'll be a first.
Right. If I were to have, right, so typical thing to say, right? If I were to host a straight pride festival, right, I would be a bigot, right? Or it would be like, what do you mean? Right? Like there would be, on one side, there would be an uproar. So why does pride festivals, why does that movement, why is it even a thing?
Okay.
Right? Help me understand that.
I'll gladly help you understand.
I know you will.
Especially right now in this time, right?
Yes.
So in the past year, we've had an anti-trans rally happen up on the city civic plaza.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Which is telling the community, you are not wanted, you are hated, shut your mouth and get out of the way, right? That's exactly what they were doing up there that day. The city provided security for that, free of charge to those people. We pay for our security every year. Secondly, there was another event that happened over at the fountains, and I can't remember what it was called, but it was the same speakers as the ones at Civic Plaza with a larger turnout. City provided all security and police to make sure that that was a safe event. Um, but it was again anti-trans, anti-gay, everything, right? And they didn't obviously promote it that way because you can't do that because people get upset when you do that. But it's the reason we have Pride, the reason we need Pride is because it provides a safe space one day a year where people like us
Get to be ourselves.
get to be ourselves and be around other people like us. Straight Pride doesn't happen because you're around people like you every day. There are a bazillion white, shaved head men with goatees walking around this community that are perfectly fine and safe
Got it.
for you to be around.
Yep.
There are not hundreds of white, nail wearing gay men, tall glasses wearing gay women in this community that I get to be around every day and feel safe.
Yep.
So we get one day a year for about 8 hours a day, that one day where we get to be around people like us and be authentically ourselves.
And how do I totally get that,
Mhm.
right? And I love that. And I think that is beyond important. Okay. How do you adequately convey to someone like me, right? How do you adequately convey what it feels like and how it is to have 364 days a year where you walk around not feeling safe? How do you convey that?
It hurts.
How do you convey it?
I'm not sure.
Imagine, here's one. Imagine trying to find someone to cut your hair,
Mm.
right?
It's just a ball joke.
No,
No.
it's not at all.
Got it.
But you can go anywhere you want to go.
Sure.
Any hair salon, any stylist, anywhere you want to go. And you're going to walk in the door and you're going to feel grateful and appreciated because they're going to just welcome you in. Now imagine you're gay or lesbian and you have to find a hairstylist in your
Because you
local
wanna shave your
community
head.
because you want to shave your head, or you're a trans person and you just want to have a nice haircut, right? Because wigs don't always do it. You've been growing your hair for 6 years and it's finally long enough to get the perfect style that you've been dying to have. And you walk into any hair salon anywhere and they say, I'm not going to take care of you because we don't like your people. And they'll do that. It's happened multiple times right here in our city recently. It's horrifying because you're just trying to get a haircut. And then you have to take that shame that they've just put on you and you have to try to find somewhere else to go and you have to try to feel safe. It's hard to explain feeling safe, right? Like when I'm at home with my doors locked and my windows shut and the curtains drawn and I'm alone, I feel safe. That's the only time I feel safe. When I get
And
in my
even that's
car,
been violated.
and even that's been violated.
Yeah.
So now, even just getting in your car to leave your house, you go to the grocery, which we all do every day. Most people, it's not a big deal. But in a state where anyone can carry a gun and they can carry it anywhere in the state they want to carry it, and there's so many people that dislike us for being who we are, is it safe for us to walk in Kroger and pick up a jar of peanut butter to go home and feed our kids with? No, it's not. It's horrifying to know that at any moment someone can look at you and say, "You're a faggot. I don't like you," and end it right then. And there's nothing that
And it's
we can
happened.
do about it. And it's
Hey,
happened.
it's not like
happened.
this is a
It's
manufactured
not
fear.
fake
Right,
stuff.
Right.
It
right.
could happen anywhere at any time.
Especially if you have like the equality sticker on the back of your car, even getting out before you get in the store.
Sure.
It can target you right there.
Sure. And I think one of the, you know, I think one of the common, I don't know what you call it, rally cries or misconception. It's obviously it's a misconception, but rally cries is that let's go back in time a little bit to when um, same sex marriage was on the table,
Mhm.
right? And a lot of people thought that by allowing same-sex couples to get married, it somehow took away from different sex couples
Mhm.
getting married. And I never understood that argument, right? Like, if you and I got married, how in the world does that take anything away
From anybody
from anybody
else.
else getting married? And
Yeah.
I've never understood that. Um, it, I don't know that somehow it demeans the meaning of marriage. Well, the marriage meaning is between the two people, right? And if they choose to include their
Mhm.
higher power, whatever that is, that pretty much sums it up. I mean, and I mean, obviously family, right? Like kids or whatever that are involved.
Mhm.
But basically that's it. So it does nothing to you for
Or
what we
anyone
do.
else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't.
I think one of my favorite things about when all of that time was happening was you don't like gay marriage, don't get gay married.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
why does it bother you
I
any
mean,
at
this is
all?
really simple.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And to your point, like on the equality thing, sorry, I just backed up there. On the equality thing is part of the biggest issue in that whole scenario is that there are um, built-in benefits, right, of marriage, like legal benefits,
Mhm.
those types of benefits. So if it had truly just been a union of two people with their God at the helm of it, then it would have been a moot point, right?
Mhm.
But when you start piling on benefits and saying, sorry, you can't,
Right.
these are the benefits, but not for you.
Right.
That's a problem.
It's a
Mhm.
problem.
That's a problem. Same thing with the rallies that are okay and the ones that aren't.
Right.
You know, that's a problem.
It's a problem.
That's not how our country is made.
Supposed to be made, right?
Correct.
It's supposed to be equal for all.
And I don't have to like what you're doing.
You don't have to.
I don't have to attend what you're doing. I don't have to support what you're doing. I don't have to have you on my show and talk about what you're doing. I don't have to do any of that. But I can't prevent you from doing it.
Right.
And
Well.
by denying the same rights that this group has.
Mhm. Right. But again, you can if you are in power and make the decision to, right? Now, again, the ACLU has filed suit to fight this. It will probably take several years.
It will.
I mean, it's just one of those things. But luckily, Boro Pride was able to find another venue,
Well, that's where we're going next. So
right?
so tell me about it is happening. It's happening this month.
Yes.
So tell me
Thank
more.
God it's happening this month.
Yes.
Yes.
Tell me more.
October 28th. Go ahead. Your turn. Talk.
I was trying.
I
I'm
didn't
trying
mean to
fix
be
my
the only one
No, I'm trying
talking.
to fix my microphone too.
In
It's
order
not.
for her to talk, you have to be
I have to
quiet.
Sorry.
Go Diesel. Go Diesel.
Yes, October 28th, Tennessee Miller Coliseum.
Mhm.
We should be introducing our new court, new king and queen for this year.
Nice.
Thank the heavens.
You got to hand off the tiara.
We are so excited. We have
yeah.
the crowns in the house now
They're very
waiting. They're
pretty.
gorgeous.
They're very pretty.
Yes.
Um,
We're working on other prize packages currently. Pieces of the prize package currently. Yeah.
Nice.
We have some amazing contestants lined up.
So the 28th is a Saturday.
Saturday.
Correct.
Yes. Mhm.
Times.
So there will be a pride pageant happening at Austin Audio here in Murfreesboro at 11 a.m.
it's 11. I
It
almost
will
said 10,
start
but I
at
said
11
it.
a.m.
But that's at Austin Audio over on West Main.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Yes.
And then Boro Pride Festival will happen at Miller Coliseum starting at 1. Yes, starting at 1
And
to
that's over by
8.
Siegel, right?
It's over by
Yes.
Yes.
over on
Yes.
the north
Yeah.
end of town.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yep, behind the Publix over there on Memorial. Yep, way over there.
Yep.
It's a great space
Hey,
though.
great parking,
Huge.
huge space.
Lots of parking.
Indoor.
Love that.
So screw the rain if it wants
Dude,
to come,
oh
right?
my word. That,
Right.
oh my word.
That's normal, right?
That's normal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I've never been wetter than that
Ever.
day when it was just an
It was
absolute
awful.
deluge.
It was
Yes.
awful.
Yeah.
We were swimming across the park at
It was
Cannon
terrible.
2 years ago. Yeah, it was a good time, right?
I mean, finally, you're just like, screw it. Yeah, let's
Screw
just
it.
have fun.
Just have fun. That's all you can do, right? Just get into it and enjoy
I think
it.
at that point, like my makeup was already off, and I was just like,
I was
yeah,
about
you
to say,
know,
no,
yeah.
that was not fun because my makeup, I had gone all out and done makeup and hair and everything, and it was dripping
I
down
had
my
no makeup
face.
on.
And
You
I was
had a
like,
lot of
dude,
makeup
I
I
had
was
a
gonna
lot
say
on.
between us, like with the
yeah,
foundations and the
right.
facial hair and everything else, yeah. Like once the
Oh,
rain started, it was
yes.
over.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Tammy Faye
Totally.
Baker.
That
Yeah.
was heck of a lot of rain
Yeah.
that time.
So
It
it's
was.
indoor, and so this comes from obviously that's an MTSU
Uh-huh.
property, and
Yes.
so have you guys established a working relationship with MTSU, or how did that come about?
We have a relationship with the Lambda organization on campus,
Hmm.
who was going to try to host Pride earlier this year, and they were going to do it on campus over
Hmm.
by the student union. The some things happened, and Mitsu was not on board at the time, so we had to sort of refigure out what we were
Reevaluate
doing.
the situation, step back and kind of look at
Yeah,
it.
and Miller Coliseum, luckily, it has a separate board of directors that
Mm,
governs it,
Cool.
I didn't know
and
that.
I
I
didn't
didn't either, right? But they do a lot of events over at
They do.
Miller Coliseum these days, and so we had a few connections just from friends in the community that have used it before. So we reached out, and they were like, "Yeah, let's look through and see what we're doing and how you want to handle it, and we'll make a decision." And they agreed; they want us there, so we're going to be there. Um, there will be no drag performances happening at Miller Coliseum. That was a stipulation, but we will have a drag show at Austin Audio that evening
After
after Boro
Pride.
Pride Festival. I believe there are 60 plus vendors signed up right now for Boro Pride Festival. I'm told there will be a beer garden in a very special little space there at Miller Coliseum. Um, I think they are still working on food trucks.
Food trucks.
Maybe. I don't know that they have as many as they want, but they're working on food trucks. Um, but they have several bands lined up, right? We have some amazing, amazing bands lined up this year. So I can't wait to sort of see what they've got going on and who they are for sure, because I've not even got names yet. But that all starts, like I said, at 1. Bands start at 3. There will be we will be there walking around, shaking hands, having fun. Our new king and queen will be with us, walking around, shaking hands, having fun, so people can get to know their face, so that we can sort of fade away into the darkness.
You can
Yeah,
on your way out.
Out the
on
door.
our way out the door. There might be a few other things happening as well. We may not just be waving. Um,
Hey, not all the fingers, at least, right?
Not all of them will be there. That is correct. It's been a stressful 2 years.
Very.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad to let this one go, I think. October 28th will also be one of the last performances I do here in Murfreesboro. I've already shared this with most of the people that need to know, but I'm stepping back and taking a few minutes to sort of refocus my energy and start giving a little more care to myself, right?
Not a bad plan.
Yeah, I mean, I was using my alter ego to create spaces for other people to come out and have a safe space to be and have fun and once in a while, and it's just gotten a little bit overwhelming being the
Mhm.
one person fighting to make that happen every week. So
Mhm.
I'm taking a step back. Um, I'm not gonna give it up for good because I have other projects in the works coming up in the spring and hopefully next summer, but we'll see what happens there. But yeah, I need to pull back from my weekly shows and focus a little more on what I'm really wanting to do. So that's what we're gonna do.
There you go.
We had that conversation the other night. I'm kind of stepping back as well and just going to kind of refocus and reevaluate everything and see what happens.
Well, sometimes it's important just to anything that you do very regularly, whatever it is, especially if it's something where you're in the limelight of sorts. Um, it's important to pause and just breathe for a little bit, right? And just be, and then at some point re-engage or not, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But no, I get that totally. I'm in Smyrna Rotary Club, and every single president every single year at the end of their presidency says, "Man, that was fun, but I am glad it's over.
Mm-hmm.
I'll see y'all in a month," and they unplug for a month.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So no, I totally get that.
Yeah.
Totally.
Yeah, it's going to be hard. I'd been begging and begging and begging for a regular cast show every week, and I finally got my wish. And I'm like, oh crap, no, I can't do this. I need a few minutes.
It's a lot. It takes a lot to put on
Yeah.
a show.
Yeah.
With advertising and contestants, or not contestants, but like
Performers.
performers and advertisement and getting people in the door. You can advertise all day long, but if we've got all this talk about negative about us and everything,
It's-
nobody wants to come out.
Yeah.
Well, I've been to the show.
Yeah.
Had a great time and had an awesome time. And is it going to continue? Just
The
not
show
with
will
you?
continue, just not with me being in this limelight of it. I'll still produce it. We're gonna move to an every other week show because our audience has dwindled dramatically over the past several months, and I need to rebuild that before we try to do a full weekly thing again. So we're gonna go to the second and fourth Thursdays so that our cast has a little bit of a breather room in there to hopefully step up their games every week and bring something new to this table. But yeah, I'll still be producing. I just won't be performing.
Sure.
And I think I spend a lot of money and time trying to prepare each week for the show and make sure I bring new things and new excitement, just like I do for Boro Pride every year, right? I try to bring new and exciting things. But I really want to do something on a much larger scale, and I need to refocus my funding for that. Costuming is not cheap in our world. I can't buy a cheap outfit for $20 and be like, oh, let's walk on stage and do this thing.
Right.
We're talking hundreds of dollars per outfit. So I'm refocusing my energy, and I'm going to start focusing more in that direction.
And where is the show?
It's at Seasons of Murfreesboro over by the Clarion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right by the
Yeah.
interstate.
On Thursdays. The show starts at 8. There's
It's a blast.
food and drink, and we have a really good time.
Hey, all right. I'm going to digress for a minute.
Please.
The meatloaf that they cook in there is friggin' delicious. I just want y'all to know that. It is awesome.
Yeah, they'll be glad to know that. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, it is. They have amazing food.
They
It's-
really do.
The chicken tenders are my favorite. Between
Yeah.
the chicken tenders and the nachos.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We had meatloaf. We split a
nachos
meatloaf
sounds
sandwich.
So
It was
good
awesome.
right now.
Yeah, I was doing the show one night, and there was a girl sitting there with this meat and 3 plate, and I'm like, what is that? Like, we're at the bar. What are you eating right now? She's like, yeah, this is some good food.
It really is.
I was like, dang, girl,
Yeah.
calm down.
Yeah, super cool spot.
Yeah.
So,
What else?
yeah, what else? We're about to wrap up. So, what else do people need to know?
I don't know. We told you about the pageant. We told you about the festival. Told you about the bad things and the good things. Feel like we blew a little bit of rainbow and glitter. Maybe.
I think the biggest takeaway is this, and this is where I am. Okay, I don't have to agree with you. I don't have to condone what you do. I don't have to encourage my kids to do it. I don't have to like expose my kids to it necessarily. I think your plan is going to backfire if you shield your kids from stuff.
Absolutely.
That's my opinion. But what I do have to do, and what I should always do, is treat you like a fellow human being, and not lesser, and not what's the word, subjective to, and not, it's not conditional, right? It's not I would treat you right if
right.
not that. It's just you're my friend, and that's enough, right? And we can just leave it at that and be buddies and get a beer every now and then, get a coffee every now and then, whatever. And that's it. And why we have to put stipulations on that, and why we have to cap that because of some opinion that you and I differ on,
Mhm.
I'll never understand that.
I won't either. And let's throw the Bible out there for a minute, shall we?
I was
Yes,
thinking
please.
about doing that,
The
but
Bible
then I
says
was
to love your
like,
neighbor as
yeah.
yourself. It very clearly says that, right? So
Well,
start
we can go
loving
even
and
in
deeper.
nurturing
any
yourself.
form of religion, not just
Any
the
form.
Christian
Yeah.
Bible.
We can go even deeper than that. Okay. So one of my favorite / least favorite things in the whole wide world is the very common use of the phrase love the sinner, hate the sin.
Mm-hmm.
And almost always it is applied towards the LGBTQ plus community. Almost
Mm-hmm.
always.
Almost always.
Mhm.
Almost always. And I've rarely heard it applied to basically any other.
Any other sin.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And it is a backhanded way to say,
Bless your heart.
no, well, to say, I'm going to stay away from you.
Right. Right.
And if Christians specifically, as one myself, wish to say that we want to be more like Jesus, right? Jesus's example was that he hung out with and talked with and befriended the sinners.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't need to be with the saints or the Pharisees because they were doing their own thing, right? So any witness, if you will, that you wish to put upon somebody else, but you marry that with love the sinner, hate the sin, and everything that really entails nowadays,
Mm-hmm.
you've ruined your chances.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, and I can finally say this and not feel guilty for saying it. You know, my mom has always been one of those love the sinner, hate the sin people.
Yeah.
Right. And until recently, we went through some major transformations this year. She's finally starting to realize that who I am is not a sin. I'm living the life that God created me to live, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm just like you. I did not wake up one day and say, I'm going to be a gay.
Yeah.
Let's go to school and get beat up every day.
Every
and get
single
harassed
day.
every day for 18
Yeah.
years.
Let's be afraid to go to the grocery store. Woo!
Yeah, I didn't
Yeah.
choose that.
No.
No. I don't think anyone does choose that,
Mm-mm.
and more power to them if they do. But it's not a sin.
Or have you lost your mind if you
Right.
right?
Are you insane? Like,
Yeah.
do we need to check you in somewhere? No. But it's not. You can't say we're sinning when we're just living as who we were created to live as.
I don't disagree.
Right.
And that whole thing that I said was directed at the people.
Mm-hmm.
Let's pretend for a second that it is. Okay. So is gossip.
Mm-hmm.
So is fornication.
So is judgment.
So is judgment. Right.
That's the
So
big one.
is yeah. I mean, like so is swearing at the dude that cut you off in traffic.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah.
So
look in the mirror, my
that's
friend.
it.
Right. Like
that's it.
I do it every day.
And good luck judging my heart.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not for you to judge.
That's right. Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you're doing in our community. I appreciate the fight and just getting, I don't know, man, just like some sense, I don't know how else to say that. You know what I mean? And it's hard. I know it's hard. And I appreciate what you guys do.
Well, we thank you for
Thank
having
you.
us on again.
And just for the record, Norman, I just love you to death.
And I just adore you. Thanks for coming and joining us today.
This just got
Absolutely.
really mushy. I'm uncomfortable.
I know, Diesel. I don't know you that well.
That's right.
And Jonathan's out.
I love it. Thank y'all so much.
All right. Well, if
Maybe
you
next time.
if you want to join them, October 28th at Tennessee Miller Coliseum, starts at
at 1
o'clock
1
with the pageant at 11 over at Austin Audio,
correct?
Over here on West Main. Other than that, check out Tennessee Equality Project. Check out, read up a little bit, see what's going on, and get involved.
Get
in the fight.
involved, donate. They can always use help. Yeah.
That's it. All right. Appreciate you guys. Thank you for watching. Have a great rest of the week. Talk to you again soon.